Welcome to the Mason Miller Show, and tonight our guests are Isaac Smith and Brad Eversole, and tonight I'm joined again with my co-host, Clay Miller. And I'd like to say that there might not be the Mason Miller Show if it weren't for Brad, because he wrote my theme song, and that might not be what it was today if it wasn't for Brad.
I don't think I'd go that far, but...
Musical genius. Wrote it from scratch.
Oof. As opposed to stealing it from someone else.
Yeah.
True.
So, you guys are farmers, and how long have you guys been doing that?
Well, I mean, I've grown up on a farm. I'm third generation, of this exact intact operation. And basically, I've been doing it kind of off and on ever since I was old enough to drive stuff, work it around school and whatnot. Even when I went to college for diesel mechanics, just went to Lakeland, stayed close to home. I would basically go to class and then come home and work on the farm, and did enough that I was able to just pay for college as I went, because it was just a junior college. It's not quite the same as paying for a university, but I was able to just kind of float on through and learn stuff at school, learn stuff on the farm, and then eventually, I'm trying to think, it may have been 2009, I actually bought in, and I was a partner with the actual operation, partnered with my dad, so just kind of 50-50 of the actual farming operation. And then 2015, he retired, and he went hard when he did it. Like most farmers, when they retire,
he was done, huh?
They kind of hang around, and they want to drive a tractor here and there and just kind of stay somewhat involved. Basically, his method of being involved is putting like 60,000 miles on his truck a year, just driving past us a whole bunch, and texting us probably, 6-8 times a day.
Looks good.
Just got to tell us it looks good. Throwing a nice dust. Yeah. That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Keep at it. I'm heading out of town.
Isaac, how long have you been farming?
I started in 2010 or 2011, part-time. I was going to school at Eastern, finishing that up, and I was able to shape my classes to where I went to school Monday through Wednesday, I think. Thursday and Friday, on the off-season, Thursday and Friday, I'd work at the shop with Brad, and then Saturdays we'd work if it was in season, like harvest or planting or something like that.
What was your major in college?
Business management.
Okay.
And I basically, once I started farming part-time, I kind of decided like that's what I wanted to do. But the management thing seemed like it applied to enough stuff. Mm-hmm. If for whatever reason I changed my mind or farming didn't work out or whatever, I had a degree I could use for something. Mm-hmm. But once I started doing it, I liked working outside. I liked working with Brad. It just kind of panned out to where I kept doing it.
Right. So, Brad, was your grandfather the one that started or did he just have a little bit of land and then just start buying more and more as he could?
Yeah, the majority of the land that we farm now was purchased by my grandpa and my dad.
Okay.
Right in that generation. So I think it may have been around a little bit longer, but that's where it really grew to the size it is now. Mm-hmm. So we're lucky. There's a lot of farmers out there that basically just cash rent ground, or they do a crop share operation, but they don't actually own it. And we're one of the operations. We've just been around long enough that I'd say basically all but about 235 acres. Everything else is family owned.
Really? Okay. So you don't farm much of anyone else's ground?
Not a whole lot, just a little bit for the hospital in town, but we've been farming that ground specifically without owning it, but we've been the ones farming it for more than 30 years.
Oh, okay. So even before it was hospital's ground, you were farming that for whoever had it, and then they gave it to the hospital?
Yep. And that ground, it's right out on the highway on 128 north of town, and it has...
There's a sign there, right? Is that the one that has the sign in front of it that says, hospital?
Yeah, and the really awesome house that has a red roof on it, so it looks like a Pizza Hut.
Right.
Yeah, that place.
I wish it was a Pizza Hut and this
would be
Pizza
nice.
Hut.
Oh man, that was
Oh yeah, but that roof, I don't know why they did that. That is the house that my dad grew up in when he was a kid.
no kidding.
And it got passed on, and then my my uncle and my aunt and my cousins grew up in there for a while. They eventually built a different house and sold it to I don't have any idea who.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have a clue who owns it now, but every now and then somebody stops in and gets the mail, and that's about the extent of it.
Yeah.
Do you think your kids will take over?
Yeah. I mean, I have 2 kids. My daughter, Audrey, she is 12. My son, Max, he is 10. Max is, I would say it would be a huge understatement to say that he's obsessed with farming. That and Fortnite, like every other kid that age. But he loves it. And the other thing is he has like a natural skill set. He is one of these kids where even when he was 6 years old, he'd hop on a pedal tractor and he'd pull stuff around. And I'd just watch him and I'd realize even at that age, like he understood the mechanics of how to back a trailer up.
Right.
And
So he's already got the knack for it.
oh yeah, I know.
Maybe he could go down to 9th Street in the summer and help some of these people back their boats down.
No joke. That's what I was going to say. There is a boatload of adults that don't have that
No.
skill set to back a trailer.
There's people that have had boats for
That-
25 years that still can't figure out.
Dad
how to
says
back
that
a
every
trailer.
year. You should sit down there by the ramp and charge people to back.
We
up
should
their
do a
boats.
podcast live from the boat ramp one day. That would be interesting.
Talk about a really stressful place.
Oh, yeah. Marriages are broken down there. Absolutely. Absolutely. People lose their minds. It's stressful. But
Oh yeah, it is entertaining though.
So if you weren't farming, both of you, what would you envision yourself as doing?
Well, for
Tough
me
question.
personally, I'm basically anything other than a desk job.
Mm-hmm.
It drives me insane to work indoors. I just straight up do not like it. When
Right.
it comes to the business, the paperwork side of it, 100% my least favorite part about the whole thing.
Yeah.
I can go out and try and fix something and have no idea what I'm doing and then feel victorious when it actually works.
Right.
I like that. I like that way better. So I don't know. I would say if you had to dream big, I'm a music guy. I like getting out and playing music, recording my own stuff. But realistically, I'd just find a construction job or something like that.
Just anything you could be creating something and be outdoors.
Yep.
What about you, Isaac?
I'm probably in a similar boat. I mean, I'd like to think, I think I'm halfway intelligent, and I'd think, I'd get a desk job and do something easy, but that probably just wouldn't happen. I could do it, but
Would make you happy?
probably not. And I don't know. I like actually doing something and accomplishing something.
Right.
And I'm kind of the same way. I just don't feel like I'm getting much done that way. I would probably do something like welding. My uncle welds. He works at P&H. My grandpa farmed and then ran a welding shop, and I like being around there a lot.
So a lot of hands-on
Yeah,
stuff is
yeah.
more his time.
I would say welding would probably be something I would take a serious look into if I had to do something different.
Yeah, that makes sense. Being a farmer and having to work on stuff all the time.
Yeah, I like that part of it too. That's I mean, the busy season, driving a semi and stuff, it's not bad by any means, but I like working on stuff.
Well, now that harvest is over, what do you guys do? I guess the getting ready to drive a truck, but
Yeah.
They're farmers,
between
man.
there.
They're done. They're done. They do nothing until April, and
Nothing
they hit
at
it
all.
real hard for 6 weeks. They're
That's
done
what-
again. No, I'm kidding.
Everybody likes to think, well,
Right.
they just take time off and trade in their pickup truck in
yeah.
winter.
I've
That's the
told-
two
that's-
things guys do.
We've kidded Joey Howe about that his whole life. Said, man, how do you put in this tough 12 weeks every year? But I mean, obviously we don't. But we love to give him a hard time about it. But yeah, so how was harvest, and what are you guys in the middle of now for the winter? Putting everything back together.
Yeah, harvest. It's definitely done. We'll
Well, the weather.
I don't
want
want
to
to say it was
this year,
awful,
right?
but it was real close.
was it? What was the worst year of harvest? Do you think?
Well, that
you can
depends.
remember.
This is one of those years that, as far as difficulty of the work, it's kind of categorized by how late it goes.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it kind of makes sense in my head. And I've had harvests go all the way up to like Thanksgiving when we're still working ground. This is the first one I've ever experienced where the work kept going, and it was a few days past Thanksgiving before we actually got it finished up. And a lot of that is just strictly because it was that wet.
Yeah, it stayed unseasonably warm, and then would rain, and then it was almost spring-like for sometimes.
Yeah, everything was, all the rains were very evenly spaced to where it wound up being one of those things where you'd be stuck waiting and just fixing stuff and just pacing around, stressing out until like Friday. All of a sudden it would dry out enough you think you could go out and do something, and even then you're pushing it pretty good, but that's the only option. You got to get it done. So you wind up working all weekend, and then Tuesday you get rained out again, and it just kind of went in a cycle like that the entire time and just took forever. It was
pretty
rough.
Stressful.
Yeah, it was a stressful one, but I wouldn't necessarily say it was bad because the yields were good and the market prices are good. So it's a profitable year, but man, it was grueling.
Just trying to get it out of there. Some of those rains too were interesting because it would rain, like you talk about, they were perfectly spaced, and then sometimes it had been really warm, would rain, and then you'd get a cool front after that, so it'd be real slow to dry too sometimes. So yeah, it was one of the latest years I can remember. Even going north, those guys are always done early, and when there was still corn in the fields, up to Thanksgiving, which, like you said, they're usually ripping through it. Half of those guys are done before Halloween.
Yep.
Isaac, how did you feel about harvest this year?
Well, I mean, it's just my job, so I show up and do it. I have less stake in it than he does, but
just another day.
It didn't seem as bad to me, but I drive a semi, so I mean, I'm pretty well point A to point B back. I mean, I just repeat over and over and over the same thing. So
Isaac's like, it was nicely spaced out this year.
Yeah, things moved a little slower, so I wasn't going as
That's
fast.
all right with you then.
But
I understand that perspective.
Right.
Yeah, because when I started, when his dad was still working, he drove the truck and I ran the grain cart, and so he was doing what I was doing, when his dad was still there. So he knows everything that I'm doing now.
So you guys just moved up a slot in each one.
Basically, yeah. And then we didn't replace the other guys.
Right.
So now we're running with two for the most part. We're running with two guys.
Yeah.
We have help from a few people. That's nice to have.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I love having the extra help, but that really brings some of my flaws to the surface. I'm just god awful at multitasking. Boy, I hate it. Like I'm not much of a micromanager, but I don't know. It all worked out. All the jobs got done. Hey. Everybody did well.
Everything's in the bin, and you're
another
done,
year in the books.
Right?
Yeah.
Waiting for January, and I'll be driving back and forth to Decatur way many more times than I'd like to.
What do you do when you're in the truck for so long in those lines?
I don't know if we want to know.
Take pictures of other people that are making them mad.
I mean, I'd like to think like I'd take a book thinking I'll read it, but I don't do that. I usually just listen to music or text people.
The amount of hours you spend in there, you could like get Mandarin and learn Chinese or something.
Yeah. I mean, how many times have I sent you guys pictures saying, well, I'm back in paradise, and it's just this gray, gloomy, foggy, concrete grain bin, and that's it. Like just a string of those. And
didn't you take dumbbells or something in the cab with you one time, or did you just threaten to do that so you could get out?
I think I did once. So our old truck had a sleeper on it. Our new one's just a day cab. So, but I did back then because I mean, at Tate and Lyle, sometimes you're there for like 4 or 5 hours.
The sleeper would be dangerous for me because I'd crawl back there and say, I'm going to take a little 10-minute snooze.
Did you write part of an album album?
Oh my gosh.
In the semi with an acoustic guitar.
Yeah, when you got that sleeper back there, I just threw an acoustic guitar in the back, and I don't know. You kind of get in this routine because to clean out our grain bins, it's approximately 80 trips up there.
Wow.
So you're doing it over and over, and
that's why 128 gets torn up. They redo it and it's trash again in a year.
Yeah.
Probably.
Oh yeah, semis make a huge difference.
Right.
Just the country roads around our areas. A lot of the farmers have kind of stepped up in the last 10 years or so and went from like the old school straight trucks. And almost everybody has a semi now. And man.
Well,
the roads have paid.
I don't know anything about any of this stuff, but I feel like the amount of traffic that goes up 128 and goes to ADM and that sort of thing, we should be able to get a grant or something, and that thing should be concrete all the way up there, just like they did down in Effingham, down there in the Exchange, because, I mean, they redo that thing constantly, but
There's a lot of money that goes over that road.
There sure is.
A lot of money.
right.
So what was the longest time you've ever spent, either one of you, in a cab, in a line?
Probably the year before last year for me.
Is that when the scales broke?
Yeah, I mean, I had like 6 hours up there waiting.
You're
and-
stuck. There's too
6
many in front of
hours.
you and behind you to do anything. You're
Oh,
just going to
it's
sit
just,
there and
I mean,
take
it's slam packed full clear out on the road. There's been a time or two where I drive up there and they're like, you can dump the grain, but you won't get a ticket. So you're just counting on.
it. Oh.
It's just like
Brad's like, no,
yeah,
you
yeah.
get a
Well,
ticket.
and it's not even my grain, but I'm just like I'm not comfortable
Yeah.
doing that. That's do the math. 900 bushels, and say it's $4 a bushel or whatever. I mean, that's a decent little chunk of money. You don't
Right.
want to just take a chance on. All right, you got it. We trust you. Like,
Honor system.
Yeah,
That's-
yeah.
I don't know about that.
doesn't even affect me, and I don't like doing that. So,
No.
but yeah, I'd say around 6 hours, and it feels like every bit of 6 hours when you're sitting
Nothing
there
about
too.
it flies by.
No.
Well, right there where you turn off, I mean, I'll go through there. I used to go through there a lot, and I mean, it'd be several wide, and for as far as I could see, and that line you're in.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yep. And I mean, you get some good sayings, some good humor over the CB.
The slang or the CB?
Yeah.
I mean,
You always send me texts about that.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
hilarious.
You could do a podcast with those guys, probably.
yeah, it would be edited a lot more. I think.
Probably.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, and for the most part, the people you're dealing with are pretty good dudes. Like,
Right.
if you needed help with something, they'd help you or whatever. But it's just fun. It's a whole different world. Like guys that live out of their truck basically or whatever. It's
crazy.
very different.
Yeah, they're not writing albums in the back of theirs.
No, I don't think so.
That's all they know.
Right.
We're going to take our first quick break, and we'll be right back.
Where do you think you're going to put a tree that big? Bend over and I'll show you.
If you're looking to get into the Christmas spirit, then Triton Tees has the shirt for you. With the new Christmas Vacation Griswold shirts we made available to purchase at Jake's Antiques. Go check it out and buy one before they run out. Welcome back to the Mason Miller Show. We're still joined with Isaac and Brad, and we're going to try our first soda, which is the Blackberry Cream. The label is Reading Draft Blackberry Cream. Is picked by Isaac. So we'll see what you got, Isaac. See if you got the magic touch.
We'll find out.
Blackberry, we've never had anything like this before, so.
I like it.
Yeah, that's not bad.
That's pretty good.
It almost kind of doesn't seem like a soda. Like, I mean,
I like it. It's
it's not super sugary, but it's still.
I think I could
good
drink a whole
flavor.
bottle of that.
it's kind of a Dr. Pepper light or something, or almost a Mr. Pibb light. It's got a
Yeah.
little. That's what I'm tasting anyway. I don't
Little
know.
bit.
Brad's got something working in there. The wheels are turning.
He's processing.
It's got a hint of sat on the bar for 10 minutes and the ice melted.
It does. That's what I'm saying. Dr. Pepper light or something. It's almost like a little bit of a watered down version of Pibb or something.
Yeah, I like it. I would buy that at.
Would you drink a
Jake's
whole bottle,
Antiques.
Brad?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That is pretty good. I like
That
it.
is a good pick.
Tastes like a cup of pop.
It's off the beaten path, but it's not like crazy. Like it's not something you've ever had before, but it doesn't taste terrible. I guess.
Yeah, it is. I like it a lot. I drank the whole thing in one go.
Yeah.
It's funny you say pop because people either say pop or soda. And I can remember going to school, to college, and those guys were all from the city that I first roomed with first 2 years, and I obviously was not. And I can't remember whether back then I called it pop or soda, but whatever it was, they did the opposite, and they were like, "What did you just say?" I mean, literally, like I was from another planet.
Then
But-
you get those people that say soda pop. They mix the two together, and those just don't make any sense
Wisconsin
to me.
people, I think, maybe they say pop.
I think so. When I was up there playing ball, I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure. Yeah. That they
Because one of
called it
Jill's
that.
great best friends from Wisconsin, and I think she calls it pop all the time, and Jill makes Jill laugh. But yeah, it's just whatever you're used to growing up with, I guess.
I know. And we're kind of right in the middle where you'll hear a little bit of both. But what I told my son is I said, if you're in a drive-through at a restaurant, the dumbest possible way to order something to drink is to ask them for a cup of pop big.
Because I'm really thirsty. I need it big. And then you finish it off by saying, and can I get that to go if you're in the drive-thru?
Perfect.
Yes. Yeah.
We talked a little bit about music, but do you guys, Brad, do you like movies? Do both of you? I know, Isaac, you like movies.
We talked
He's probably more of a movie guy than I
I
am.
love his intro. Well, we talked about music, but do you like movies?
That's a smooth transition.
Right.
Yep. Most movies have music in it.
Right.
So, yeah, I like movies. I have, I don't know, kind of a weird taste, I guess. I was one of those kids that, like, everybody my age that grew up always watched, like, Willy Wonka and The Never-Ending Story and all that stuff. I've never seen any of that. I grew up on Indiana Jones,
Oh, yeah.
Back to the Future, and just random crap like that.
Mm-hmm.
And you're speaking his language.
Yeah, that's exactly how I grew up.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's how I grew up. I mean, how old are you? Well, you're,
I'm 39.
yeah, so, I mean, I'm 47, and when the first Indiana Jones came out, I was little. I don't know when that would have come out. Probably 80, I'm guessing, or 81, somewhere 82. I was really little.
Yeah, 80 or 83 or something. I want to say somewhere in between
Because
there.
I remember sitting at my then brother, who's 7 years older than me's girlfriend's house watching it, and he was, I guess high school, So I mean, I would have been probably, I'm gonna guess like 5th or 6th grade, something like that. I mean, when the first one came out, and it was awesome.
Oh, yeah.
That's so rare of kids nowadays that watch those kind of movies.
Well, kids have short enough attention spans. It's all about YouTube videos and stuff.
Yeah.
And when
Yeah,
it
that
all
changed everything.
it's condensed to like 5 minutes.
Right.
And that's about it. And what's so strange is what I've seen with my son is he'll watch enough YouTube videos of gamers and stuff that when he plays on our PlayStation, he feels the need to speak constantly. He just, because that's what YouTubers do. They have to,
Like they need to narrate what they're
like
doing.
dead space is the enemy. So they got to be talking the whole time to keep people's attention. And he has picked this up. And when he games and he's chatting with his buddies, just talking nonstop. And we're just like, hey, bud, there's a lot of words coming out of your mouth, but you're not saying anything at all.
The interesting thing about this, with kids growing up with all this stuff, is it's going to be so interesting in 15, 20 years when they're out in adulthood. Because what I'm noticing already is, and I feel like I'm getting to be this old person, but by saying this, because I can see the differences,
An
but
older gentleman.
really young, and I'm not stereotyping saying everyone, but they have a difficult time entering a conversation and exiting a conversation. And I am convinced that people in their 20s and teens, it's because they've grown up texting in short bursts and literally when the conversation's over, being able to say, okay, well, hey, take care. Great talking to you. We'll catch up with you next time. It's like this deer in the headlight look sometime. And I'm convinced it's because they speak in these little snippets all the time. So what's that going to be like in another 15 years when, everything is abbreviated? I mean, everything, just like you said, they watch, they communicate, everything is in these little bites.
Come on. When are they going to learn to end a phone conversation by saying, well, probably better get going?
Yeah. When do they ever going to have a phone conversation? If I want to talk to even them, half the time I got to snap.
Well, that's just Malcolm. I mean, you can get a hold of me and I'll text or call back every time. That's what probably makes me number one. That's so true. Everyone knows that.
That's one person here doesn't know the answer to that, and 2 people that don't believe you, and then you
That
believe
is such
yourself.
a lie. How many times have you texted Malcolm on messages and he's responded?
Well, never, but
Exactly. How many times have you texted me on messages and I respond?
slightly above never.
That's okay.
I'm not the greatest responder either.
No,
I will
you're
admit
awful.
that.
I can never call you. I always have to call mom because you'll never pick up
I'm busy.
because you're working.
I'm providing a life for the family, carrying the weight on my shoulders. I mean, your mom helps, but
She's there.
Yeah, the conversation thing, I'm pretty good at that. And I think my wife a lot of times wishes that I would learn how to
That
get
you were
out
worse?
of conversations. Yeah.
You're a great starter. You're a terrible ender.
Yeah. And then she gives me the look that is well, I guess I better get going, but
Yeah.
I just don't see it. And
It's like, well, Stacy's really quiet. And it was like, well, when would she get an opportunity?
and she would have wanted to go to bed about 4 hours ago. So
That's why you
And
marry
Isaac's
your
along for the
opposite.
ride.
I mean, it really is.
yeah,
I'm warm, cozy, cuddly.
Yeah, you're
Jill's
not.
that's hardcore, tough to get along with person.
I will say, whenever I'm expecting you to be mad, you're on this constant level of angry, okay? And then Mom, whenever she spikes, it's like, wow. You don't see it coming. But with you, you know it's coming. That's just how dads are, I think.
I handle catastrophe much better. The crazier things get, the more I
Yeah, I
even
will
out.
say that. You do.
You when you're little, I come out and you're taking a snow shovel and think you're doing me a favor by busting ice off the concrete and really it's chipping the concrete all over the place.
I didn't know what I was. I didn't
even
know
with,
that.
even
I
then
mean,
you didn't
things
know
like
your
that. You get upset at. But then when there's really big things, I'm usually like Malcolm would much rather get me on the phone if there's something serious because I'm like, "Ooh, okay, well, we got to talk about this because your mom's not going to be happy. But yeah, best thing to do is just we don't ask a whole lot. Get good grades. I mean, throw a
No.
napkin on your
You
lap.
say that, but you ask things all the time, constantly.
Open a door for females to go through first.
I do that.
Not every time, but yeah.
I am
Anyway.
learning a lot.
Oh yeah. Brad's like,
This is
wow,
good.
this is what it's going to be like. And Isaac's like, I don't know, this whole kid thing. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I've still got time to get out of there.
Yeah.
Oh, Isaac newly married.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell
Change
us,
the
Isaac,
lifestyle.
what's the married life like now for you? How long have you been married? Just a little over a year, right?
Sounds right.
Yeah. Well, you got married during the height of the pandemic,
Yeah.
so you couldn't really do
Yeah,
anything.
so plans were really scrambled. We rescheduled at least twice, I think. We sent out invitations at least twice.
Yeah.
But Stacy was really good about I mean, it was whatever for me. Like, no matter when it happened, it was going to be the people I wanted to be there were going to show up.
Now, were you still able to date up until the wedding? It kept getting delayed. Did you see other people?
Yeah, we stretched it out as long as possible, but then she got stuck with me. So, but no, it's good. I mean, it
What else are you gonna say?
maybe,
Let's be honest.
Well, it's good.
maybe this is. I've talked to other people in general, and they said that this is maybe not the norm, but for us, nothing really changed. She lived with me for a little bit before we got married. It really, I mean, we were already doing life kind of, and it's been pretty smooth.
Right.
I mean,
Other than
it's-
taking an oath for the rest of your life in front of God, there really nothing changed.
yeah. I guess that's, yeah. But we just kind of still do our thing. Like she's extremely patient with me. I am constantly busy doing something, and
Yeah.
she puts up with all of it. So I
Yeah,
definitely
you're
can't
never
complain.
one to sit still at all.
No,
At
and that
all.
annoys her some. But then when I do sit still, like tonight, for example, she was baking cookies and was like, "So when are you leaving?" I think she said that 3 times. So, and then I was like, "Actually, I think I might just cancel the podcast and we can just hang out all night." And she's like, "Nah."
Nah, go ahead. She's probably baking something.
Yeah.
She's probably making cookies that take her 20 minutes per cookie to decorate.
Yeah, I can't remember what they were
Yeah.
tonight, but she was working on a batch for somebody.
Sweet.
Yep.
I did, and going back to the getting married thing, I did ask the second we were married and pronounced man and wife, we were walking down the aisle, I did turn to Jill and said, so we can still see other people, right?
Dad always talks about how many hearts he broke that day.
Oh,
Long line.
devastating.
It
Devastated a lot of people.
Yeah, it happens.
So, Brad, what about you? Did you have any advice for Isaac when he was getting ready to tie the knot and all that kind of stuff? Or did you just say, I'm steering clear of this? You're on your own, buddy. Like all the rest of us, you'll figure it out.
No, I mean, I'm an advocate of marriage, but weddings, that's just, it's almost torture for me to go to one of those.
Yeah,
no
like-
offense, but I mean, I know that there are plenty of people that just love weddings and they love all the little details. And as far as I'm concerned, when we got married, it was basically, what is the least amount we can do that's going to add stress to all this?
Right.
Just let's throw the important stuff in there. Let's invite like 6 people and just do it out in the woods and call it good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because this whole,
You're
I
still
gotta have
just as married.
yeah. Got to have the perfect dress, the flowers. Everybody's got to stand in the right spot. Something doesn't go right. Somebody breaks down crying. I could live my whole life.
What kind of weddings are you going to?
It's funny, you get to be a certain point, and weddings and funerals have the same feeling
Oh.
Look at Isaac, of excitement.
I'm already to that point. I feel like if I'm close with the person,
Yeah.
it's not, and it's good to see everybody because a lot of times, like there were some people that came down from Chicago that were friends. I'm good friends with them, but I just don't see them that often.
Right.
That part of it is by far my favorite part. But yeah, the whole charade of it, being in it recently, you kind of feel like there's sometimes where you're doing it for other people and not for yourself, and that part of it kind of stinks. But
You know, at the weddings, it's the weddings are really cool. I think they're good to go to when you're good friends with the people, but
Right.
you're not good enough to have to like do anything. To be,
Yeah.
you can just show up and be. But there's still a lot of
Yeah.
people you like to see and all that. But
First wedding I was ever in was Isaac's.
that is true.
yeah,
We had a great time.
Yeah, we did. It was a good time.
Jill had a good blast at our wedding. I spent the whole night going around thanking everybody for coming and all that. And I don't think she left the dance floor for 3 hours. So she's like, "This is my wedding. I'm having a good time." So
Of course, Dad had to do all the talking.
yeah, my next one, I'm going to spend the whole time dancing.
Now.
No, never again.
Never again. Can't afford.
Find the best gal that's the lowest maintenance person that's a little opposite of you, and it'll all be just fine. That's key. I'm convinced that I don't think you normally seek it out. I think it just kind of happens in good where you are a little, you have same interests, but you're just a little different
Opposite?
personality. Yeah, I mean, it does. There is something to that.
Like Isaac is really patient and calm, and Stacy's really going out.
I constantly tell her, "Why are you so loud? Why do you
Oh,
sing
yeah,
around
right.
the house? Why do you stay out late? And I'm trying to go home, and you keep me out all the time."
Why do you
Right.
Why do you sing in the morning while I'm trying to get ready?
Yeah,
I will
pure
say,
torture.
one of my favorite aspects, we've got a group message with some buddies, and every now and then he just throws something in the group message and just says, "Found a new way to annoy Stacy today." I said,
Yeah.
and whatever it is, I can never remember it because it's been a little while, but he's got such unique methods to just drive her crazy that
Oh, I've seen.
it's
I've seen
great.
some videos.
The video they sent that one time where he was singing.
Yeah, you're
to
getting
her
ready to go
about
to the
wanting
boot
be a
store.
cowboy. Yeah.
Yep.
She was. It was like
She
5
was
in the
not
morning.
having it. Yeah.
Dress up like a cowboy.
Yeah, she loves that early in the morning when I'm just instantly on. It's loud.
See, that's the best time to catch me too. I
Dad
mean,
is
from
a
the
morning
time
person.
I wake up till like 10:30 or 11, that's my sweet spot. And the boys know that. Like, if you want to catch me, that's the time to get me.
But not past 2 in the afternoon, especially on a Sunday, because
Yeah.
you will fall asleep. You will take a nap. You can't watch a movie with you past 2 in the
Well,
afternoon.
if it's cold and dreary and rainy out, what else are you gonna do? But yeah, otherwise I'm out mowing the yard because my kids don't. So I gotta do.
Well,
Oh,
because he can't.
Wait, and that doesn't bother you at all when he falls asleep during a movie, does it?
Oh, yeah, it doesn't at all. It makes me so mad.
Well, it's because half the time,
Like the point of I wanted to watch the movie is I wanted to watch it with you, and
yeah,
then you
but
fall
you
asleep.
watch the same movies over and over, and I can't do that. I can't watch the same movie.
Oh,
like-
he wants to watch you watch it. That's
Yeah.
what it is.
Yeah.
I just want to stare at my dad longingly as he enjoys a movie I
yeah,
like.
I feel like he's about to
Exactly.
attack like a dog. Like, stop staring at me. Why are you staring at me right now?
How many times have you seen Step Brothers?
Well, I think one summer my brother and I watched it every night for maybe a week, and then off probably every other day.
I'm telling you right now, I would bet
I bet I've seen
$1,000 that
50
Malcolm has
times.
seen that 100 times.
I think,
movie.
I was gonna guess at least 100.
As many times
Has
as
to be.
Eric Hobby has seen
No, don't eat.
What's
Couples
the-
retreat?
Yeah, couples
watches it every-
retreat.
Couples.
He says
retreat.
every time.
He sends a
Oh.
picture once a week
Oh,
of
yeah.
that on his
What?
TV.
It's like he knows the TV schedule.
He does.
He doesn't own it on DVD or anything. He knows the TV schedule where he just, this is on again? I guess we're going to have to
he
sit
says,
down and watch
well,
it.
it was on TV, so why wouldn't I watch it? I'm like,
Well,
probably because you've seen it the last 2
And if it's
days in a
dark,
row.
he's watching TV because he either works or he's out plotting to kill an animal. And you can't do that in the dark, so he's home watching TV. So
That's one of his 2 hobbies.
Another reason you wouldn't watch it is because it's couples retreat.
yeah.
I mean, get
There's
get with it, Eric.
Yeah. There's a few good scenes in there, but yeah, those guys.
I
I've
couldn't
been
watch
watching it
that
over
one
and
again.
over.
I think he just has a soft spot for romantic comedies. And,
He watches the same 4, 3
He's from
movies.
Vandalia.
Yeah.
Oh, I have no room to criticize. Okay. I have. I'm okay with embarrassing myself. That's
I was
fine.
gonna say, what's the movie or the song? What's the movie that you secretly like that you probably shouldn't tell everybody?
The
Can you
Notebook.
tell that?
No.
The Titanic.
No.
Do you ever stand on the front on the combine while it's going, and you have Isaac
I'm gonna
stand there on
take
the
it.
railing, and you hold him by the waist while you're going?
I've never seen Titanic. When I was younger, I had a firm rule. If it came on
It
two
sinks.
VHS cassette tapes, I'm not interested. That's too much movie.
It stinks.
that.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, I
it
was like,
stinks.
man, Braveheart looks really cool, but 2 tapes, no deal.
Yeah, just get to the scene.
That
where
was awesome.
Get to the scene where he's riding the horses and getting everybody ready to fight.
Yeah.
You can just fast forward to that.
Yeah, but the guilty pleasure, I like Tina Fey stuff, so I like Mean Girls.
You can admit it.
You and Jill,
don't
you and Jill
care.
should get together sometime and watch some movies.
I can quote it for sure.
Really?
Yeah.
Mean Girls. Really?
Yeah.
What about you, Isaac? Is there anyone that would make you, if everybody finds out, maybe you should trade in your man card?
About the girliest movie I've ever seen is Fight Club.
Yeah.
That's Isaac,
I
probably. Yeah.
really, I
Rambo.
feel like I'm pretty predictable. I would have to think on it, but yeah, I don't really watch movies that are not good. So
He has a strict, no good, no bad movies.
well, I mean, Stacy watches bad movies all the time. I just go downstairs. I
Isaac
don't
does
watch
not
them.
like. He does not like dumb, funny movies.
Yeah, like anything Eric likes, I generally don't like it.
Like he doesn't like Blazing Saddles.
But I think it's funny how irritable he gets than when someone else watches it. Like, so if Hobby does send that picture of that, he'll respond and like he's genuinely
And he's also-
like, mad about it.
Yeah,
He's watching it, you know?
because he acts like I'm the child for not liking the movie.
And he
I'm like,
also
See, here he goes.
he also acts irritable whenever you play a certain song.
Oh,
yeah.
So we have this thing where and you got to get in on it, Brad. Anytime this song comes on, whether it's
The gym.
Mason Mount. I
Car.
mean, just the other day, Eric sends a picture of
A classic.
Stacy's mom. You know, from Stacy's Mom's Got to Go. Of
Of
course,
course.
of course, he's married, and so for
Eric used to do that.
years
Oh.
we say it to him all the time, and it just drives him nuts.
Eric,
so we won't.
We
stop.
went to the DJ at the wedding. I was like, Eric, like you should go play Stacy's mom. And Isaac turned to me and said, "It's not. It's on the list of don't play."
and
He already had it on there.
And
policy.
that wasn't even me. That was Stacy. Stacy's like, we're not doing the cha-cha slide or whatever that is, and we're not doing any Stacy's mom. Like
She's
she was
missing
next
out.
to
That's a
that.
great song.
That party would have blown up.
I know Eric. I know Eric really wanted that song that night.
Yeah, yeah,
Of course he did. He is a child though.
yeah. Exactly. See, you're catching on.
Yes, sir, Vandalia.
Yep, typical Vandalia.
Second greatest player, and I did say second greatest player, basketball player ever to play in Vandalia because I know that'll irritate him. And so if he would have come to Shelbyville, he'd have been like, top 20.
He never he never dunked on Isaac.
He did not.
Isaac's
Well,
too good of a defender.
If you stand at the free throw line, he jumps over you. Is that technically that doesn't count?
I just knocked him down.
Because he,
I would
he
just
was
do
a
anything
freak.
to prevent getting postered.
Yeah, well, I was told to, so
Oh, well, yeah.
that was not going to happen. But no, he was very good. I had no business playing defense against him. So I just mauled him until they took him out of the game because they were worried he's going to get hurt.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, that does sound about right. That's funny. So, Mason, what's a movie that you shouldn't tell anybody about that you secretly are okay with?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Dig deep here. Come on.
Anything with Barbara Streisand.
Oh God, she's so bad. I don't know. I know it's really old. I like The Wizard of Oz. I don't know why.
On that note,
Yeah.
I don't know why.
that's
Let's
Jill
wrap it
coming
up
out in you right
here.
there.
About done.
Boy, mine's way worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not that bad. I mean, it's a
I mean, I
classic.
don't know.
Yeah.
I always watched it when I was a little kid. Thought it was. I don't know.
Yeah.
Mine's not a classic.
It's hard to admit.
Mine's
those
like a
things.
high school girl flick.
Yeah.
Like
It is. It is.
Join the club. Give me something real juicy.
I don't know. I don't watch anything that's like whenever I watched 16 Candles, I didn't really like it that much.
I liked
I've
16
never seen
Candles. The Breakfast Club.
I mean, it's okay.
Breakfast Club was awesome. I mean, have you seen the Breakfast Club?
Yeah, it's been a long time.
It's good. Get back.
Man, I still
I don't
can't
know.
think of one.
I tried to watch that show, New Girl.
This is coming from the
It's
kid
not that good.
dressed up as Captain Jack Sparrow for 3 straight years, I think. Every time I came home, he was out on his bicycle and he was Captain Jack, and then his cape would get caught in his
I got
bicycle
actually,
chain
yeah,
about
I
to pull
was,
him off.
I was riding my bike down the sidewalk here on Broadway, and I was feeling good that day. I remember, and the wind was blowing really hard, and the cape just blew back, and it got caught in the back, and it jerked my neck back. Tell you what, that'll scare the crap out of you as a little kid. And then
So then it broke him
That's-
up. So he took a 2-week break and became Indiana Jones because he was always someone. And I came home and caught him with his bullwhip out on the boulevard, trying to
wrap
get
around a
up.
tree.
Oh, and I'm like,
I was
if you
fascinated
swing
by
out on
that.
this, you're going to swing out into the street. You
I've
can't
had a
do
couple
this.
close calls. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna lie. There's probably a couple times I should have broke something,
Had
but
to keep an
we
eye
made
on
it.
him, on Mason. Yeah.
It's always doing something.
Yeah. So we've covered. What about favorite like bands? Since you guys, I mean, you guys are music guys. Bands or songs? Like, what are you into?
I'd say probably a strong 80% of what I listen to is just as gross and heavy as possible.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know why. If it's tuned really low and just, if I hear a song and I say that guitar sounds disgusting, that's like one of my favorite aspects. But
To where Metallica looks really light for you, you're like, wow, they're really mainstream.
yeah, they're a little too bland.
Yeah.
For my taste. But I would say favorite band probably of all time that's transcended just through all the years. I'd probably have to land on Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Randy Jackson played bass for them, didn't he?
Yeah,
And
he did.
who taught you that? I thought I told you that.
I can't. It might have been.
Yeah.
He came home and told me that just this week, so it's got to be fresh.
No, I've known that for a couple of years.
Oh, okay.
So
Well, you
he's-
did just tell me this week, and I was like, really?
My guess was for you was that or James Taylor. One of the two.
Yeah, I do love James Taylor, but I pull Earth, Wind, and Fire out a little more often.
Earth, Wind, and Fire isn't very heavy.
No, it doesn't make sense.
They're not very gross.
That's why I said 80% of what I listen
okay,
to is
that's
in
just
that
the 20.
lane.
He's talking about
But
the 20% right now.
the thing is, I've got country music playlists.
Sure.
I've got hip hop playlists.
You got to switch back and forth.
Whole deal.
yeah.
What about you, Isaac?
I'm kind of the same. I mean, I kind of came up in like music became important to me through being friends with Brad. I mean, they were high school or slightly out of high school age, and I was still in junior high. And he was playing in the band. I was hanging out with them, and so a lot of the stuff they liked, I liked because before that it was just the radio
Right.
and just common stuff. And then I got into this whole new world of music that was just, you didn't hear it on the radio.
Really
And-
underground.
Yeah, and I mean, one band I remember that we got into that was a heavier band. They were a heavier Christian band, and they sold their CD at like Christian bookstores. I don't even know if that's still a thing, but I remember I bought 5 copies of the CD because I played it so much that it scratched and quit working.
Wow.
And
I tell you what, when you play it so much that a laser scratches.
oh, it was all the time. It was all the time.
Gosh.
And so that came out. I mean, I graduated in 2007, and I probably got it when I was in 8th grade or something. And they are just releasing it on vinyl, and I ordered it on vinyl. It's come full circle from CD when it came out to now. I've got it. Gonna
It's
have
funny
it on
how things
vinyl.
come back.
Yeah,
Well, everything is available to everyone now, but like you said, you get exposed to somebody else back in the day, and then they turn you on to something else because it was top 40 growing up for me is whatever's on the car
Right.
radio. That's
Yep.
what you listen
Yep.
to. if you liked a song, you either bought the cassette or you tried to tape it off of the radio, which you got to be really fast, And then I went to college and just got randomly placed with. There were 4 of us, and none of us knew each other, and one of them happened to be a music major, but I mean, the guy was insanely talented. He was a jazz musician, but he could play anything. I mean, he had literally any instrument, he could just play it. But he had a guitar there with an amp and like a wah-wah pedal and stuff, and he would sit there and play the opening to Motley Crue's songs. I was blown away. I'd never been around anybody like that. It wasn't really, you get in your little clique or whatever. And he changed everything. I mean, he started playing all kinds of different music that I'd never even heard, didn't know existed. Everything from jazz stuff but right then it was in early 90s when I went to college. And so all of the grunge was just Seattle sound was taking off. So it was Nirvana, Pearl Jam. You'd go to any party and it was like that Pearl Jam CD 10 was just playing nonstop.
That's a good time. Like I mean, I like that era of music.
Soundgarden, Stone Temple Pilots, all those were just exploding. That's all anyone listened to. Everybody wore a flannel shirt and blue jeans everywhere. But it's funny, you go to college now and everybody's wearing flannel shirts. I was like, man, this looks like the 90s all over
everything
again.
comes full circle one way or another.
Yeah, it really does.
I can understand the male grunge look coming back, but when I see young girls hiking their pants up to here,
the mom
jeans, wearing mom jeans,
that right there is something I did not think
that
would
needs
come
to
back.
die.
Me neither. That looks like, I'm like, literally, there's a reason they call those mom jeans, because that looks like my mom when she was in her 30s, and yikes, why are you,
There's nothing worse.
I don't get it.
It's comfortable, guys. Stop.
Yeah.
Isaac loves mom jeans. He's got them on right now.
Yeah, exactly. I wear them all the time.
There's nothing that looks worse than mom jeans.
I know. The way I always categorized it is it makes your butt look so long. I don't think a long butt is what you're going for, but
it does.
Wow, that is a nice long butt. Maybe it is what they're going for, man. When we're out of the loop.
And we just changed fashion for people for quite a while now, because I'm sure they were waiting on our opinion.
Yeah, they were.
Exactly.
Trust me, they aren't. I've tried multiple times.
I believe that.
Yeah, it's every group does something that's not a good idea. I mean, we in high school rolled our jeans down at the bottom and tight rolled them at the bottom.
Yeah.
And, we thought that was the coolest thing ever. You couldn't have anything that was baggy around your ankle, and then now you
I don't like anything baggy.
Oh, that looks so bad.
Whatever. We had our era of like all the metal kids or the hardcore kids all had like tight jeans. It was a thing for a while, and a white belt. That was a thing for a while.
oh yeah, just the emo kids. I bought these pants in the women's section, like that kind of thing.
The tighter, the better.
Yep, and then you got the other kids. They're a little bit more trash can with their style, and they got like the Jinko everything, so it just looks like they've got a 55-gallon drum on each leg.
And those, like, you can I was talking to a guy that resells stuff. He sold like a pair of those for like $200 on eBay.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's crazy.
Jinkos.
yeah. And I wanted a pair so bad back in the day, and my parents were like, I'm not spending like $100 on those stupid pants. Like, I guarantee that's exactly what my dad said.
And I can remember carpenter jeans, like the baggier the better. Like you wanted big bulky legs and stuff, and then all of a sudden it got to where it swung back clear the other way. You wanted them real tapered, and I'm like, man, I just got 3 new pairs of carpenter jeans, and now everybody's telling me I'm out. They're so much more comfortable.
We were talking the other day when I was in middle school, and I thought they were the coolest things ever. I had like suede Vans shoes that were like maroon, and I had olive green corduroy pants. Ooh. And I thought they were so cool. And it was like a thing for a real short window, and then they weren't even cool when I had them, but I thought they were cool, and then they became very not cool.
I've always hated corduroy. I don't care. From the time I was in 3rd grade, my mom would make me wear dress pants, and I'm like, these aren't dress pants, these are corduroys. But they classify it in our house as dress pants, and I hated them then, and I hated them when they came back around. I'll hate them next time they come back around.
Yep.
Not a fan. Especially like, it seems like brown corduroys should be outlawed. They're so ugly.
Just like the mom jeans.
It's weird. They're just weird.
Forever.
Well, the odd thing is, my son, 10 years old, we started approaching cold weather, we said we need to go get you guys new coats because they outgrow everything. Huge growth spurt time period for both of them. They're giants now. And we looked through all these coats. We just went to Marshall's, and the one he picked out was brown corduroy.
Yeah.
That's what
It's
he
back.
wanted.
It is back, and the tan corduroy with like fur on the top. Like
Yeah,
on the
it's
inside.
kind of got the little wool-looking thing on the
not,
inside
yeah,
of the
wool.
collar.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's. I kind of
go.
liked it, but
Prior to that, he was 100% invested in being like the puffy coat kid.
Mm-hmm.
I can't stand those.
The old Michelin look. Like,
Right.
they're warm. It makes sense. But,
Well, yeah.
like, every other kid in your grade has it, too. So,
Yeah.
he went corduroy.
I knew it'd come back. I was just waiting, and here it is.
Got to be different.
What's
Brown
coming back next?
No, I shudder to think. Just hang on to all your clothes because they'll all come back around.
They'll be worth triple what you paid for them here.
Yeah,
That
there's
is
nothing
one
to-
thing I'm glad about is back in the era he was talking about when we were all playing in bands and going to concerts constantly, we would buy band shirts at all these different shows, and I had just scads of them. We all did. And when I outgrew them, I shoved them all into a Rubbermaid tub and tucked them in the back of a closet. And
Great idea.
I found them a few months ago and fished them out and was like, whenever the kids get to where they wear a medium shirt, this is going to be like a gold mine from the past.
Because Malcolm and Mason buy the retro band shirts all the time.
Oh, yeah.
He'll be walking around with a rat shirt on, up there, and he's like, I just like it, whatever. But a cool thing, if they're ever done with that, is Jill's grandmother. She had tons and tons of volleyball like tournament shirts from high school and all that kind of stuff. Kept them all, and she cut them up and made a big blanket out of them, which is really cool. I mean, you could do that one day. I mean, it would be have somebody do that, and then you have this blanket that you don't necessarily use, but you can hang up somewhere, but it's got every one of those on it. It's kind of neat.
My wife is doing the same thing with a lot of the kids' baby clothes.
Yeah.
So she's got a big tub
That's a
full
good
of
idea.
this stuff and fish it out, and we're like, oh, look at the little booties on this one.
I've never done anything worth remembering, so nobody can make a blanket for me for anything.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same
They could
boat.
do that. They could do mine to be the size of a washcloth.
No, it's still big. It's just all just a solid gray. That's all it is.
It's accent.
We're going to take our next quick break, and we'll be right back. You might know that the Mason Miller Show sells soda, but you don't know where to get it. Well, today's your lucky day. The Mason Miller Show sells their soda out of Jake's Antiques and on Route 16 in Shelbyville, Illinois, as well as a select few at Joe's Pizza in Shelbyville. You'll walk in, be a nice flyer inside the menu, open it up, pick a flavor, and order a retro soda at Joe's Pizza. Go support Joe's and go buy a soda. Welcome back to the Mason Miller Show. We're joined with Isaac and Brad still, and we're going to try our second soda, which was picked by Brad, and it's the Mother Road Lime Soda, and I think it's going to be pretty tasty. I like lime stuff. Let's give it a try.
It's like a glass of kryptonite.
Ooh, that's high C ecto cooler.
Is that what it is? Man, that took you right back, didn't it?
That's good stuff.
I feel like I should be eating a Lancashire sandwich and a Hostess Ding Dong with this.
You're going to be stopping by the gas station on the way home.
Yeah.
Man, it does kind of taste like that.
That was must have been after my time.
That's good stuff.
Oh, yeah. That
Well,
was,
Ghostbusters, right?
yep.
I do like it.
It is pretty good.
Man, yeah. I bet that'd be good on a summer day, a hot summer day.
I think it would be good, apparently, with a Lancashire sandwich and a Twinkie.
That sounds like a great lunch
Go
or
for
dinner.
a jog and suck a couple of those down when you get back.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that'll feel
Breakfast
good.
of champions right there.
I'll put a brick in the stomach.
Oh, yeah. When the high C, the ecto cooler came out, I was still in grade school. I wasn't in public school yet. I went to a private school over in Roseman. And we had like this little lunchroom that was kind of like the stage on the auditorium. And everybody just piled in there. And you basically got to pick what Lancashire sandwich you wanted. And you picked it. And they microwaved it for you.
Oh.
So it was like soggy but hard at the
yeah.
same time. And it
Makes
was,
the cheese kind of get melt.
I was just like, maybe I can get a couple bites of this and just hide the rest of it so I can, finish the meal out with pudding or something.
suffer through it.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
It's too bad going to private school and the public school lunches were better. Or we didn't know any better. Well, man, when we were younger, it was, like there's a little thing the other day I saw on Instagram or something. Somebody posted and it said, if you're old enough to remember when you were excited to have this for lunch, and it was a cafeteria, tray with that square block piece of pizza that we used to get in junior high. And I can remember all this, like, yeah, it's pizza Thursday. It's pizza day. Everybody was excited.
Nothing like pizza, corn, and applesauce.
Oh, yeah.
You know what's worse?
It all went great.
The pizza and the spaghetti was always good, but Salisbury steak, I'm scarred for life because what they did to it. I don't know what they did to it. Wipe it on the floor or something because it just looked awful.
They made it. They made the stuff, I think, when we were still there. They always had like 4 or 5 ladies back there, and I mean,
I'm sure it was all real. It just didn't look like it.
Ours were probably like prepackaged.
Well,
I
yeah,
think,
yeah.
For us, I think
Yours definitely weren't, Mason. They didn't.
No.
They couldn't afford to do that anymore.
Did you guys have the Italian dunkers at all?
Oh yeah, hot dog bun with melted mozzarella cheese, and it was amazing. You were like, "How could you ever think of this? Melting cheese on a hot dog bun and dipping it in spaghetti sauce." But
That's the two weirdest things.
And we wonder
mixed
why.
together.
We wonder why diabetes is off the charts.
Yeah, skip all the fruits. Can I just have 10
Right.
hot dog buns with cheese
Hey,
on
I
them,
got
please?
an idea. Let's get a bucket of cheese and give that to our kids every day in junior high.
I'll tell you what, though. When you're in a jam, a hot dog on a
Anything?
sandwich bun, 2 hot dogs on a sandwich bun, that is great. And when you're in
Well,
a jam, you don't have any hot dog buns.
You split the hot dog though,
Yeah.
down the center, so you fold it open.
Just
Oh, yeah.
the bread and the hot dog.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, he's getting that from my mom.
Yeah, she never had hot dog buns, but she always had hot dogs.
Yeah,
It
it's
didn't make any sense.
16-minute drive to the grocery store, so we're gonna eat this. So yeah, it was so disappointing.
Like,
She'd
what do
be
you
like,
want for lunch?
I'd be at work with my dad. He'd be the same way. I'm sure you're working. You're in the country, and of course, that's all you do on the weekends. And it's like it's always like, oh, I hope to God we go in to eat to the house because that will take some time. And she doesn't bring it out to us, so it's like, let's head up to the house and eat. And we get up there and like, we're having hot dog. I'm like, oh, good. That sounds good. And then she has 2 pieces of white bread laying there with this hot dog split. It was this look of sheer disappointment. And the boys grew up thinking it was a treat. She fooled them into when they were little thinking it was a treat. I was like, that's no treat. I know what that is. You're at a hot dog
I would
bun.
prefer a hot dog bun, but I don't know. I kind of,
You make it work.
it's adapt or die.
Still bread, still hot dog.
It's the
Clay.
same thing.
I know. It's spoiled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't
Didn't ask for
understand.
much. Just maybe a bag of hot dog buns every once in a while.
Yeah. The good
Or the
thing is
heartbreaking-
I have an outrageously high tolerance for stuff that tastes bad because I don't know. The opening to my esophagus is just not very big. I was one of those kids that every time I tried to swallow a pill, it would just get stuck right here, and it was misery, and it scarred me for life as a kid.
So you had to wait for that 20 minutes for that thing to dissolve.
I just wound up chewing up ibuprofen, and it tastes awful, and I got so used to it that I can't eat anything. It does not matter if it tastes bad or not.
Absolutely anything.
Yeah.
That's horrific too, because whatever you were taking that ibuprofen for, it was probably doing nothing. Because there's a reason why you're supposed to.
I
It's
know.
got an enteric coating. It's supposed to pass through your stomach and get into your intestines. Is also not only were you chewing it, but it probably was doing nothing for your pain.
Yep. That's why I take almost nothing now.
Right.
But yeah. The weird side effect was I just had a tolerance for absolutely anything. Like back in my bachelor days when I was in college, I decided I wanted to make a pizza.
I know. Yeah.
And this one's a doozy because I knew I had a pizza crust. I said, okay, I've got the foundation right there. I'll make a pizza. That'll be perfect for dinner. So I look around for sauce. No sauce. I'm not going to the store. I don't feel like going anywhere. What do I have that is tomato? So I look around. The only tomato I have is ketchup, for real. So I put it on the crust, and I said, okay, well, I'll find some kind of meat that'll kind of cover it up. I look around. I have no pepperoni, no sausage, no ground beef, nothing. The only thing I have is deer meat. I was like, well, I guess I'm using deer meat. So crust, ketchup, deer meat. I said, okay, I'm going to throw some cheese on this and some
cover it up.
Italian seasoning, and we're just going to try and mask this whole thing. So I go to get the cheese. No cheese. The only cheese I have in the entire house Kraft singles.
Oh,
So I throw it on there.
wow.
I cook it anyway. So this is crust, ketchup, deer meat, Kraft singles, Italian seasoning, because let's
Gotta make
stay
it
true to
Italian.
the flavor.
Yeah.
And I cooked it. I cut one slice. I took one bite, and then I took it to the trash can because that was the one thing in my life I can remember tasted so bad that I could not
It's
handle
like
it.
everything that's bad in the refrigerator, let's just take it and put it all in one pile and cook it.
Yes.
Well, then, what is your favorite food then, Brad?
That's a good question. I don't really know. I eat anything and everything. I don't really think I have a favorite.
If you had, I'm the same way, but I mean, there's several things I like, but if you had to pick one thing that you're like, okay, you're going to eat this one food twice a week for the next year, which would it be? If you had to pick a meal, it's like, okay, for year 2022, you're going to have this 2 times a week.
Oh, resolutions already.
Do I have to pay for it?
I don't know, but you're going to eat it.
This is important.
It's what's
because
going to be for dinner.
If I got to pay for it,
It's
then
it's free. It's supplied, but you have to eat it twice a week for a year.
okay, crab.
Okay.
I could eat crab
Crab's
twice
high on
a
your
week
list?
for
Okay.
an entire year, no problem. But if I had to pay for it,
Right.
What's
I'd
your
pick
somebody's
hot
supplying the
dogs
crab.
on a slice of bread.
Right.
exactly?
But you, Isaac, what would be your go-to if it's like, okay,
Steak, easily. Steak without a
Man meat.
question.
Man, meat. The thing is, I hated steak until
Can
I
edit
was an
that.
adult, and that's because I grew up in a family that was like, if there's any pink in that steak whatsoever, that's disgusting. You don't want to get sick. You got to cook it well
see,
done.
I grew up in a family that was just the opposite. My dad was just
Bloody.
repulsed if I said even medium, because he would make them, bring them in, and then my mom would put it back on a plate, and I'd go back out and put it back on for a little bit while he was like washing his hands or something, because he wants that thing like bubble gum, because he raises it himself, and he's like, you're
don't wanna
ruining
ruin
flavor.
it. Yep.
And you really want to break his heart, just shatter it into a million pieces. Go get some A1 out of the refrigerator.
Yeah, he hates that.
I thought you were going to say ketchup.
He takes
And I
it
was
personally. No, I didn't dare. I mean, there's a
I was
line.
going to say.
I might sneak a little A1. You do
But
ketchup,
Dad
and that's
you
it.
put A1 on your steaks, so
Yeah, I mean, now if I go
changed.
to a really good restaurant, I'll never ask for steak sauce. But if I'm here, yeah, absolutely. 'Cause I'm not a massive.
if he's eating her steaks,
No, I'm
Somebody
making
put
it.
some
I'm usually
sauce on
making
this
it.
thing.
Yeah. No, I make it.
sometimes
I'm not a.
they're a little dry sometimes.
I
for
like
me.
steak, but I'm not over the top with
Wait,
steak.
is it if it's more pink, there's more flavor, or is it?
That's what they think. I mean,
So I think you should probably make mine a little bit more pink because it's a
if
little
you're
dry.
yeah, absolutely, it's like tastes like shoe leather if you go too far. But
Oh, yeah. My cousin told me, this was maybe last year, he told me, yeah, I grew up, and the way his mom, my aunt, would do it, she would grill. Oh,
that's all right.
sorry. She would grill the steaks until they were well done. Then she'd put them on a cookie sheet. She'd bring them inside to the oven and put them in there
Oh, my God.
for another 10 minutes just to make sure.
Just go get ground beef.
Yeah,
save a bunch of money and get
pretty
ground
much.
beef.
Or make a roast or something.
Well, Isaac, how do you like your steak?
If medium, if I'm not confident in a restaurant, I'll order it medium well because I just don't want to take the
That's
chance.
a good
the way I am.
medium.
That's why I am too, because I'm
But
always scared.
If I know it's a place that can cook well, I usually order medium.
Right. If it's a good restaurant medium, but even then, that would make my dad squirm. It's the weirdest thing. I mean, he likes it like, just literally take it off the steer and just walk by a warm oven and don't break stride. Just keep
Right.
going.
Well,
It's
that's
just, ugh.
when I used to lift with Davey Walbright. We'd lift, and it was at his house. So then he would grill. We'd hang out. And
Mm-hmm.
We'd have dinner or whatever. And that's the way he was. Just flip it over, like just 2 seconds. Flip it over 2 seconds, and then eat it with your bare hands.
Yeah. I would eat like literally around it all the way and leave the best part in the center and be like, you gotta put this
Do you
back
eat
on. I can't do it.
Do you eat the fat?
I don't. It depends. Like if it's tough, no. But if it,
I kind of like it.
Like John Candy in The Great Outdoors.
yeah,
You gotta
I
eat
don't
off the
know.
gristle.
I'm
No.
kind of indifferent. Not really.
What would be yours, Mason, if you're gonna go?
I had to eat it twice a week
For you, you probably you're probably like, well, it'd be less than I eat it now.
I don't know. I really like goulash. I always have, especially if it's made really well.
What?
The way my aunt makes it, I could eat that twice a week for the rest of my life.
I'm sure it's good, but I don't think I've even heard anyone say the word goulash in probably 10 years.
Oh,
Well,
Well, especially anybody under like 50.
He'll go to her house
oh man,
for
it's
lunch.
so good.
He'll
You're
go to
an
her house
old
for lunch
soul.
once we can she make. Oh, is he ever? And they make goulash. I didn't mind goulash growing up, but my mom put corn in goulash.
See, that's not how you do it.
It had little pieces of corn, and it really bothered me.
I'll tell you,
I don't like.
it's
corn.
not big noodles, but the little craft. They're not small craft.
We
they're
don't,
like
we don't know what
smaller-
you're talking
Yeah,
about.
you're way past my expertise here.
Okay, that's kind of like noodles. Anyway, short noodles, and I like a lot of meat in mine.
I always
tomato
thought it was like
juice.
bad spaghetti. It was like a cross between chili and spaghetti.
Kind of tomato juice and
Yeah. That's
and
what it was like when my mom made
shredded
it, only
cheese.
it just had an abundance of macaroni in it.
It wasn't quite as good.
A
as
hamburger
chili. It wasn't
helper?
quite as good as spaghetti.
it's kind of like hamburger helper.
It
but
is
with
like
tomato
hamburger
juice.
helper.
Yeah, it's
But with
homemade.
tomato juice.
Brad's gonna go home and make goulash.
Goulash.
When
There you
when-
go, Brad.
When I've had it, I've never had tomato. Like it wasn't tomato based when I've had it.
Really?
What?
Oh,
Yeah.
you guys
it
need
was,
to come
It was
over.
more like a traditional hamburger helper when I've had it.
Okay.
Where'd you? Oh, wait, hamburger helper's not tomato based?
I mean, not all.
I
of
think
it,
it's
don't
hamburger based
Yeah.
or helper based.
You getting goulash in Europe or something?
I don't know.
I
Maybe
tell you what, come over sometime. I'll have the goulash.
Goulash
for it. You
party.
can see how it's really made.
That'd be the first one
American
ever.
goulash.
American
goulash.
You know, Midwest goulash.
Right.
What about you, Dad? Do you have a food you'd want to eat twice a week? Pizza.
Lunchables.
Those are so. I was just thinking about that the other day. I was like, do they still make Lunchables, right?
I'm
You
sure
can
they
still-
do. I mean, they were the best invention of the 2010s.
Wow.
Why
Talk
would it
about-
ever go away?
Oh,
No,
man, that was
I don't.
good.
I would probably. I'm very simple. I would probably a really great pizza or a really great burger on the grill. I could
Yeah, you
I
can't
could
go
do that
wrong
all. I
there.
could do that all the time. I mean, I like the stuff I like. I love like lobster tail, but I have it like once every other year because you got to be, especially now, but you got to be somewhere that one, I trust, and two, if I'm going to pay for it,
Like we went to Boston.
it's got to be, I know it's going to be legit, and that's not very often
Yeah,
for me.
yeah.
First time I had
Yeah.
lobster was in Boston, and it was, I loved it.
Well, that's
Loved
sushi. I'm that way with sushi. I had it in, I guess it would be Chinatown or that area of town at a restaurant that was just a sushi restaurant. No English anywhere in the place. Like people barely spoke English. I had sushi there for the first time ever. Amazing. Can't have sushi anywhere else now.
Because it just ruins it for you.
Yeah, it's just not. And I didn't love it there, but it was good.
Right.
But here it's like, it's kind of like a Lunchable version of sushi, is what it seems like. Like
Don't hate on the Lunchables.
in
don't
in
hate
the
on
in the
Lunchables.
It is.
Midwest.
It's a
not
great
anywhere
value
specific,
version.
but-
Well, if I guess maybe if you're in a really metro area, otherwise, that's sushi. I mean, that's not
That's been
Fred.
sitting on a
You're
truck
not-
somewhere.
To get that to Central Illinois,
Yeah.
that's going through a lot of hoops
Yeah.
and potential tapeworm action going on. And,
It's been lukewarm half the
yeah,
time.
I want somebody that's going through piles of that every day and having it brought in. And you got to get to oysters on the half shell in Boston. Man, it was
Disgusting.
awesome. Loved it.
Awful.
Once I finally found out how you ate it, you got to have Tabasco sauce and you got to have a little cracker and you put it on that. You slice it out of there and a little lemon. Oh, it was great.
Swallow some snot.
Kuntz and I ate piles of those things and they all looked at it. I got a video of Jill trying to eat one. It was embarrassing.
Is that what
So
I've
she
been
spit it
doing
back
wrong?
out. Yeah.
Tabasco and
So I tried it for the first time in St. Augustine, Florida with Toby Kuntz and I were sitting there patiently waiting. And we
Oldest
thought,
restaurant
we'll
in
try
the city.
this little establishment over here. And we went in and we ordered a beer and we sat down and they had oysters. He's like, yeah, let's try oysters. I'm like, and it was all I could do to get it down. And then finally someone's like, no, here's how you eat it. And they actually showed. And from then on, I like it as long as but you take the thing, you squeeze a little lemon on it, pour a little Tabasco and slice it on a little saltine cracker. Oh, great.
Really?
But yeah, we ate piles of them.
I don't think I want my food to be a full science experiment. I don't want to have to like do
It's fun.
everything to it just
Well,
to
that's
make
what
it
it is with
acceptable.
lobster, though. Or
You sit there with a beer and you converse. It's not a food you like eat to fill up on. You know,
how many do you think you ran through?
it was a lot.
It was a
It
lot.
was a pile.
But
You
you got
guys
like a
were all just
dish
sitting there
of
looking
them.
at us.
But you liked lobster?
Love it. And king crab. I tried that too. It was great.
Yeah.
I've
There's a
never
lot
had
of more
either.
meat in king crab than there is in the lobster.
A lot of more meat.
Did I say that?
You did. A lot of more
You
meat.
were just excited.
yeah.
And then
Oh,
you
yeah.
dip it in that butter
Oh,
sauce.
Well, it's
That's
so
what brings
good.
up the nutritional value. The
Oh,
butter
yeah.
sauce.
Yeah, exactly.
Literally, there's a cardiologist sitting there somewhere. Like, can I go ahead and make that appointment for you now in 25 years?
Oh, I've only had it once, so
Yeah.
There was a point in time where my brother, like he works for this place that offers customer service, and he got to do customer service for Lobstergram. You remember that?
Lobster gram.
Yeah. You know,
The guy comes in dressed as a lobster and sings a song.
No, you just, it's kind of like the Omaha steak thing. only you just send
Yeah, you
people
sign up and
lobsters.
they send it to you like in dry ice or something.
Yeah, and he shows up to Thanksgiving and he's just like, screw turkey. I got loads of lobster.
Oh,
And it
that
was
is
so
cool.
good.
You're like best
that'd be
Thanksgiving
awesome.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
God bless you, Lobstergram.
Yeah.
It was excellent.
ever. Yeah. If somebody else is buying, I'm all in for the surf and turf. I'll do the lobster with the little fillet on the side, but that's going to be that's going to be when just Jill and I are not paying for kids.
Two favorite seafood: lobster and especially shrimp. I could probably eat 100 shrimp in one setting.
Well, especially when you get that fine cuisine at Red Lobster when they do the.
Ugh.
Yeah, real fine.
Oh, what's the Admiral's
Garbage
platter or
shrimp.
whatever where everything is brown? They just fried
yeah.
Well,
everything.
we
The
deep
plate
fry
too.
everything.
we like to do the all-you-can-eat shrimp fest.
Oh,
When he
And,
says we, that does not include me.
Yeah.
No, but you could do it
You
if
don't
you
like
wanted
shrimp?
to.
I don't want
He
to show
does.
off, but
He's got
Yeah,
a
I like
problem with food.
he said, "I don't want to show off."
Yeah, he's not
it.
kidding.
we walked
It is-
into
it
we
is
walked
something
into
to see.
we walked into Joe's I don't know, whenever it was, a couple years ago, and I don't know if it was Blake Summers or Toby or somebody, and we were walking in with the kids, and they used to have a board up there on the side that so and so ate whatever, or the Big Joe or something like that, and certain amount of times somebody said, "Oh, Dad, do you think you could eat that?" And he turned around and goes, "Oh, in his sleep. Are you kidding me? That's a joke. You obliterate that thing." So yeah, it's a gift and a curse.
You do have an iron stomach.
But I can't do it. I mean, we've all been gifted with powers, and I can only use them for good.
Like
But
you've
I'm trying-
said, just because you have a superpower doesn't mean you should use it.
right? Exactly. So if there's ever like, an eating contest, I guess I could do that. But I'm trying to live long, so I'm trying to stop doing
Live
that
long
to
time.
myself.
There you go. You get above 40, some of those superpowers start backfiring. a little bit.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, the old metabolism runs out. He keeps telling me that's going to happen to me, but I'm not sure yet.
Yeah.
Oh, it will. It catches.
I got trouble
everybody.
gaining weight. Right
I
now.
did too.
Enjoy it
Your
while
age.
it lasts.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
am.
It'll stick to you eventually. Yep.
There you go.
Especially when the only thing you can do is run for 2 years straight, so you can't put on any weight.
Yeah, which is what takes us back to the original thing of me mowing the yard all the time because my two kids are in a MASH unit all the time, so I got to go out and do it. Because
Mash unit.
yeah, I should have bought stock in that Phoenix therapy out there at the gym.
Yeah, I think they're going to name a wing after me in one of those corners, actually. The Mason Miller corner.
Yeah,
Well, you graduate soon, don't you?
Next Thursday, I'm getting out.
Whoa.
It's the second time I've graduated. Hopefully this is the last time, but yeah.
yeah.
We can start working again and just blow it out immediately.
Oh, that's what he said. That's what he said the other night. He's like, "Oh, I'm gonna hit the gym." I was like, "No, you're not. You're not doing that this time. You're gonna pace yourself. We're not going through this again." So
Only speed I know is 100%. What can I say?
yeah.
Well,
Oh yeah.
That's all I give. Brad, are you more laid back or would you say more high strung?
That depends. When I'm in charge of everything during harvest season and I'm micromanaging stuff, I'm real high strung. Every other day of the year, I'm pretty easy going. I just don't like to get worked up, and
That's a good way to be.
yeah,
you don't ever get worked up, do you?
Never. I'm really laid back, really chill. I let things go really easy.
Yeah.
Kind of like Isaac.
Yeah.
You'll learn.
Yep. I've
You'll be forced to learn.
Yeah, you do. Or you just ignore everything else and just internalize it.
What was that picture? What was that picture you showed me?
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
That picture you showed me tonight. Some on Earth. How do you move off of?
Oh, yeah. How do you
What
get a
was it?
ticket off of this earth?
That's what he sent me that today. Isaac's
Lord.
having a rough day.
Nah.
No, that's just normal. He's just
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
just normal Isaac.
yeah,
Most of the time I'm kidding.
right. It's humor.
Yeah.
It's done in humor,
Yeah,
right?
everybody has their moments.
I know you probably want to take one last break, but when we do, I definitely have a topic that I got to bring up that we've got to talk about. So if you want to take a break, it's going to take a little bit. So
No, let's do it. I'm ready.
oh, okay.
Unless
Well-
you want to take a break, I don't care.
Well, we take a break and we'll come back for one last segment.
All right, we'll take a quick break and we'll be right back. You might know that the Mason Miller Show sells soda, but you don't know where to get it. Well, today's your lucky day. The Mason Miller Show sells their soda out of Jake's Antiques and on Route 16 in Shelbyville, Illinois, as well as a select few at Joe's Pizza in Shelbyville. You'll walk in, be a nice flyer inside the menu, open it up, pick a flavor, and order a retro soda at Joe's Pizza. Go support Joe's and go buy a soda. Welcome back to our final segment on the Mason Miller Show with Isaac and Brad. And there's something that, Clay, you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, well, we were just talking about during break, unfortunately, but I want to know about the tats and the gauges and that kind of stuff. So it's one to be farmers, but even if you get to know you guys, you don't fit the stereotype, I guess, which is dangerous to say, but I want to know what inspired the tattoos. How old were you guys when you got your first one? All that kind of stuff. Because you guys can't see them, but if you know them, especially in the summer, they all have a lot of tattoos. So I'm always curious about it. So how old were you when you got your first tattoo?
How old was I? Probably
6th grade.
19. It was 18 or 19, something
Yeah.
like that.
And
But
where was it?
I was up here, and I told one of my, our friends knew that me and one of my buddies were going to get one.
Mm-hmm.
And then he just said, "Hey, I'm going to text him and tell him that you chickened out." And I said, "Okay, sounds good to me." So when I get home, we go back to our friend's house. We had kind of this central hub where everybody hung out at. And I walk in and he said, "Hey, how'd the tattoo go?" "Not there," and just slaps me really hard. I was like, oh, that was a pretty big backfire. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. It was one of those things where just being kind of in that band scene, going to concerts constantly, that was just kind of, you see a lot of tattoos and
Right.
you wind up really, you see stuff that you like and
Paying
you just
attention
say,
to it.
I'd like to do that. It's just kind of like seeing a really nice car and you say, oh man, I'd really like to have one of those next
Yeah.
time we trade.
Kind of what you're exposed to, you start to kind of. Yeah.
Exactly. You
Become-
grow an appreciation for that stuff. And eventually I was just like, you know what? I feel like I've lived a pretty safe life. I've never done anything too crazy at all. So let's just go get a tattoo.
What about you, Isaac? How old were you when you got your first one?
I was 18 for sure. And it was kind of the same thing. But like I went to college 4.5 years, whatever. I didn't really party. I didn't really do like, I remember when my parents found out about it, they couldn't, I mean, it's there. They
Right.
can't, I mean,
Permanent.
so they just said, and I kind of think of it this way too. It's like, well, if that's the worst thing you ever do, then we did all right. And that's it's the same thing. I worked. When I wasn't working, I went to concerts. We went to St. Louis a lot and stuff. And that's just the crowd. Like at the time, you throw us into the crowd of people that were there, and we look abnormally normal,
Right.
I guess. Like, especially we used to
It's
go
like, who are the accountants that just walked in here? Yeah.
we would go to like a music festival in Bushnell, Illinois, I believe it was. And I mean, you go there, there's you camp out. There's stages everywhere. There were families there. There were people our age there. It was a wide selection of people. But I mean, there were guys wearing black dresses that were riding bicycles that are like 10 feet tall. And, I mean, you saw everybody, but you were kind of all generally there because you enjoyed the music and
Right.
stuff like that. And so it's you just kind of pick things that you like and say that's cool, and yeah,
You kinda
cool to me.
Become what you like.
A little bit,
in a way.
And it's just some people are into cars. There's various things, and you just kind of get into, and it's almost like you start collecting them a little bit.
And I kind of think it's
thing.
cool that you guys don't fit the farmer stereotype. Something different.
I mean, it's a job, I guess. It doesn't affect the way you do your job. So
It's what you do, not who you are.
Yeah.
Some of these are really, I mean, somebody really had to know what they're doing to do those. I mean, they look, I mean, their art, they look like it's like a real picture.
Yeah. Those are the ones that take a little while.
I
So
bet.
you got to really camp.
What was your longest tattoo?
I think it was probably 6 hours in one sitting.
Man, that's a long time. Were you laying down or sitting down?
Sitting, slouching.
Yeah.
What about you, Isaac?
Usually when I go, I go. They normally open at like noon or something, and they work till 8, and I normally am there from open till close. For whatever reason, I'm no expert, but if I remember what I was told, a lot of times people can go for so long, and then their skin starts. It's almost like chicken pox. It kind of starts reacting to the ink, like your body's just like stop.
Right.
For whatever reason, mine doesn't do that, so I can just get tattooed for a really long time, and I never have any reaction or anything to it. So I'm usually like, I'm here, I want to get it done, or as close to done as possible, so I'll sit here, and you just work until you guys close, or you want to quit for the day or whatever. So.
Is there a certain place that you guys will only go, or a certain person that you only let do it, or how do you choose? I mean, that's a pretty big deal too.
Yeah,
I would be more apprehensive, honestly, about who's going to do a tattoo that's going to make my body forever than I think I would even picking out a doctor. I mean, you don't like the doctor, you can switch, but
I think the big thing is just look at the person's artwork, and if they have a track record of doing good work, that's the big thing. Like if there's a style, or if they have no pictures online, you can't find anything on them. Chances are that's probably because they're either new or they suck and they don't want you to see what they do.
right.
You're right.
So my suggestion would be, and I kind of do it this way, is find a person that has a track record of doing good work and trust them. Don't micromanage what they do. Find somebody that does good work, give them an idea, and let them be an artist. You're not, like, most people aren't a tattoo artist. Like, I don't know what's going to look good on skin. So
yeah, they give you suggestions, just like
just
remodeling your kitchen. You get the person that does it all the time, and they can give you some ideas.
And don't try and be cheap. Like, that never seems like it's a good idea when it's something like that.
I love those pictures of the bad tattoos.
Bargain basement.
Man, it's not. It's just not. It just go to somewhere good and just pay what they are asking, because it always turns out better that way.
There was a plastic surgeon a couple of years ago that I was talking to through work, and I just asked him. I said, "Hey, what's your number one procedure, that you do?" And he's like, "Well, I do the top two things I do are breast augmentation and tattoo removal." Yeah. I said, "You ever do it on the same person?" He said, "Yep." So that was interesting. I was like, I bet that guy's got some good stories. But he said, yeah, the tattoo removal was non-existent in my practice, and now it's the second most thing that I do, because he goes, you get these bad ideas of these people that were, in college that thought it would be cool to get something right here on their neck or something, and now, they're trying to live a different life or whatever, and trying to get it. Or he goes, just badly done. Right. A lot of them are just really bad tattoos. So
tattoos have never really bothered me that bad getting them. I think like having my ears pierced was way worse. Mm-hmm. But man, I've heard removal is not fun.
Well, that's what he said. He goes, if you think getting a tattoo is expensive or painful, he goes, come have one removed.
I think it takes
series of
sessions,
burning. Basically, it burns it off of you.
Yeah. No, thank you. I don't. I like all mine well enough. I'm not getting them removed.
I'm thinking about getting the Mike Tyson one going down the front of my face. But
that is being. That's dedication.
I'm pretty sure that's trademarked, because they tried that on The Hangover and it didn't work out.
yeah.
You could just take the Post Malone thing and just make your face look like a gas station bathroom.
Lord.
Yeah, that's bad.
I'm thinking about what if they just did a slight tinted one and having my entire body tinted tan. That's what I'm thinking about doing.
Tinted?
Wouldn't that be awesome?
Can you get a tattoo tint?
How long would that take to do everything?
How much money would that cost?
But how cool would it be? Oh,
to always be tan?
to not just be, yeah.
But make it
Burn all
look
the-
make it look like you had sunglasses on when you got tan.
Yeah.
And maybe they could do a real dark patch here to look like a big handlebar
shaved.
mustache.
That would be interesting. None of your tattoos are like pictures or anything.
No.
It's just accentuating your features in one
So like,
way or
I haven't
another.
seen Clay in a long time. I don't remember him being that dark complected, but yeah, it looks nice.
His beard's really thick. Half of it's tattooed on.
Right.
Well, it's kind of like a lot of people tattoo their eyebrows.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a thing now. Yeah.
I've heard of people tattooing, well, ladies mostly tattooing eyeliner on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to go to a real specialist to do something like that.
My mom was one of the most conservative ladies in the world, and she had hers done like that. She said it was no big deal, which I couldn't believe she did it. But
They do look real. From far away, I mean, when you get close, you can tell her, kind of.
I don't think so.
I don't know.
I mean,
I
I
mean-
could. I'm not staring at people's eyeliner.
See, I have
trying to
the
see if
problem.
it's real or not.
I got too much brow upstairs. I need to calm it down a little
You're
bit.
heavy browed.
Runs in the genes, I guess.
Yeah, what was the weird thing? Weren't people doing the insides of their lips back in the day?
Yeah.
Like you flip down your bottom lip.
Have
Yeah.
a little message.
Yeah.
That is
I know a couple
high
people that have
class
that.
right there.
Yeah, people would do that and then pierce their tongue.
Yeah.
It's like, you are
Yeah.
a stereotype. Sorry.
We are a stereotype, and you are too.
Yep.
So, if your kids want to get tattooed, how old, and what advice will you give them?
Do it legal. Be old enough that you are legally getting a tattoo.
Yeah.
Outside of that, what am I going to do? Tell them no?
Right.
I don't think so. But I'd say run your ideas by me first, and I'll tell you if they're
Right. Let me at least tell you I've been there, done that. I can save you some pain.
Yeah, I think if I were in that situation, I would definitely not say no, and it would definitely be 18. But I would just try, and I kind of tried to use this mindset when I got mine of try and get things that are going to last for a long, like,
Right.
don't get something that's like a temporary interest of yours. Try and base it around something that you can look back in 20 years and be like, yeah, I'm still on board with whatever.
Right.
Maybe that's hard to do sometimes, but
Yeah. When you're a parent and a grandparent, are you still going to be okay with that? You know,
Right,
if you
right.
are, then fine.
right.
But, yeah.
Yep. And otherwise, it doesn't. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe consider if you're 18 what you might be doing as a job, because some could affect for some people, but hopefully we're kind of getting away from that mindset.
Or, are you in a place financially where that makes the most sense? Just like anything, you know. I mean, and people will spend their money on stuff all the time that maybe isn't the wisest at the time. But you know, if you have the discretionary income, knock yourself out if that's your thing.
And
you know,
I also thought too when I got mine, I was working at a store at the time that's has a pretty conservative customer base or whatever, and I had the mindset of know that some people aren't going to be okay with this, like, and it never bothered me. Like if somebody, oh, you need to cover those up for this or that, I've never had an issue with that. It's just part of it. Just doesn't bother me. I don't know why.
I think today though, in these times, I mean, it's just, I mean, you got to get to know the people, and people that don't look like you, don't follow the same things. It's you just got to get to know the person, and then because everybody's different, and again, it kind of goes across. You know, you live in a small town like this, and your bubble. It's the same thing when you go out into the world or you go to college or whatever, and all of a sudden you meet, you know, people that come from don't look like you, don't act like you, or whatever. But then you start talking, you're like, oh, okay, you know, there's good people, there's bad, there's nice people, there's mean people.
It's good to have a mix
of all of everything, you know.
Yep.
So
Yep.
try to get to know that person.
Yeah, for sure. Tattoos don't make a person, but the
I know
solid
plenty of people
recommend-
with no tattoos look just like me. They're complete.
Oh yeah,
yeah, that you wouldn't want near your
Absolutely.
house. So
But the last solid recommendation for getting a tattoo: keep it from here down.
Yeah.
You go neck, face, anything like that, 100% you will regret it eventually.
Yeah.
Like,
that
that's
change-
not
it
even.
slides into a different category, doesn't it?
Yep.
Yeah. Unless you're like a professional boxer or something, that's probably not going to be
Yeah.
like.
You got to have your career set in stone for the rest of your life
Yeah.
to even entertain doing something like that.
Yeah.
Well, there is one question I want to ask, and I'm sure people are dying to know. What did you do in music? Didn't you record bands?
Yeah. I've got a recording studio at the house. Started out just basically playing in the garage with my brother. And eventually friends started playing as well, started some bands. They were all terrible back in the day, and then they got better. That's how bands work.
Mm-hmm.
And then we went out. We played like clear out on the East Coast a little bit, went and recorded a couple albums in California. Like, we did a decent amount of stuff, and eventually hit that point where it's just like, okay, I think it's time to settle it down a little bit. Just a little fried on traveling.
Yeah.
So once I decided to settle it down, I was like, how can I stay involved in music and still be at home? And that's when I started just kind of building up a little bit of recording equipment. And at that moment, I thought to myself, man, I really wish I would have paid closer attention when we were out in California recording that stuff.
Yeah.
'Cause I
All the
was-
technical part of it.
I was just horsing around being a dumb kid, and I didn't. I should have been taking diligent notes, but I did not. But anyway, I started building stuff up, and I learned as I went, and our buddy Neil helped me get started with everything because he knew a little bit more than me, but then I had some of the equipment, and we just kind of joined forces and did it together. And eventually he wound up moving out to Baltimore for a while and came back eventually, but we just kind of each built up our own little things. And eventually we hit the point where we were recording bands with the sole purpose of kind of throwing that money right back in and beefing up the equipment and just making it a little bigger and a little better. And eventually it hit that point where I said, I'm good. I don't think I really need anything else. Like, this is capable of doing anything I would want to do in here. And then with a wife and kids, I just ran out of time. So I don't really do any of
And
it.
then you peaked and created the Mason Miller theme show.
There you go.
Music, or theme music. What did, how did you do it when you record a band? Do you charge them by like the hour, like studio? How do you know what to charge?
Honestly, it all depended on how much I liked the person.
If you really liked him, it's like, come on over, let's do it. If
Yeah.
it's like, otherwise, this is what it's going to cost.
It's going to require an extensive amount of time with that person. And if it's someone that I like and don't mind hanging out with, I'll cut them a good deal.
Yeah.
You know, I'll still make a little bit of money off of it to compensate me for my time and effort. But I want to make sure I'm doing something good for them as well, giving them a good deal.
Something you enjoy too.
Right.
And then there's some other dudes that are complete tools. And I was just like, if this dude ever wants to record again, I'm telling him like
You can't afford it.
$2,000 a song minimum.
Yeah.
Because basically I want to make it. And if he says, okay, I'll do 2,000, I'll say, fine, 3,000.
Yeah.
Like, the number's going to go up until you say you won't do it. Because
Right. Yeah.
there've been a few people like that where it's just,
It's not worth it.
yeah, I straight up, that's the way you have to do it. You're going to pay more if I have to put up with your bull crap.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
But if
it's
you're a
way
nice
with-
person, good rates,
Right. Yeah.
hot deals.
Right. Absolutely.
I feel like that's the way it is with a lot of things.
Well, and the majority of the people you worked with were, I would say, pretty good. A good percentage of them, anyway.
Yeah, for sure. A lot of good people. Just nice to hang out with. Some decent musicians, some really good musicians, some not so great musicians, and it's just a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
It all paid the bills, beefed up the equipment, and it was always just a hobby. That's one of those things where music has been fun. It's been a big part of my life, but it has never really crossed out of that hobby threshold. Like, even back in the
Right.
day, playing in the band, literally the window of recording stuff and reinvesting it in there, that is the most money that was ever made with music.
Yeah.
As of like my adulthood, running the farm and whatnot, any music that I make, just writing my own stuff and putting it out there, I basically throw it on a SoundCloud page, 30 people listen to it, and then it's gone into oblivion forever. And that's the end of it. I was just like, I feel good about it. I like the way it turned out.
Just
so
doing it for yourself. Whatever. If other people get something out of it, great.
Do you ever talk about your music on your podcast?
Mostly just like the stupid songs that we make.
What is your podcast? You plug your.
Oh yeah,
where can I find it?
It is called What Smells with Brad and Daniel. And what it is,
Smells?
I'll give you the synopsis here. Okay. Daniel and myself, we have been friends since we were like 5 years old. Not exaggerating. Our families kind of co-opted and carpooled to this private school where we all went together. So we spent like 40 some minutes driving to and from Roseman every single day going to school. So we got to be really good friends. And throughout, I think 6th grade was my last year at the private school. 7th grade was my first year in Shelbyville. So those years all the way up to 6th grade, we were young, immature boys. Everything was just cracking jokes about bodily functions and everything else.
Stupid, yeah.
Yeah. So our podcast, essentially, the relationship that was founded in immature bodily function humor has now translated to two 39-year-old guys basically trying to bring that back and still laughing about it.
Yeah.
And we're just kind of thoroughly enjoying the fact that we're grown up, but not really.
Right.
One of those kind of things. So,
How would a typical episode go?
in all honesty, like he and I, before we started it, he had no idea what a podcast was. He had never even heard of it. And we would just get together and go grab dinner somewhere, and we'd just hang out and chat and have the most absurd conversations ever. And somehow he had stumbled across some podcast and said, "Have you ever thought about doing this?" And I said, "Yeah, I think we could pull it off. I got all the recording stuff. We could mix it." And he said, "Yeah, we should give that a shot sometime." And then months went by. We never did anything at all. And then one of these days, we were hanging out, and I just said, "You want to try and do a podcast?" And he goes, "I don't know how to do one." I said, "I don't know how to do one either." I said, "I'm pretty sure you turn on the microphones and then
Start
we just
talking and
start talking."
Exactly. Like,
And he's just like, "Don't you need like a theme song or something like that?" I was like, I got a bunch of dumb crap I made on my computer. I just started sifting through. I was like, "Listen how stupid this one sounds." I was like, "That sounds like a winner." And it's the theme song to this day.
Nice.
And we basically just started talking, and we did not know what we were doing. And we kind of still don't, but basically we don't really plan anything out. We basically, if we stumble across something funny throughout the week, we throw it in our notes. So we talk about it when we get together.
Mm-hmm. That's
So
cool.
We've just never really struggled for conversation. So we literally just shoot the breeze and just kind of let it go where it goes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I think those are some of the best ones where you just get on there and you're almost kind of just talking, telling stories or whatever, and just laughing about things. Because, I like to listen to certain ones, and sometimes you listen to just parts of them or whatever, or while you're driving, it helps pass the time because you get tired of the radio and all that kind of stuff, and it's kind of feels like you're just sitting down. You stumble across good ones every once in a while that people are just, again, no real intent. They're not trying to get you to do anything. They're just shooting a breeze. So.
Oh, yeah. And there's one other big aspect that kind of went into the formation of this podcast. I've got 2 kids myself. He has 3 kids. And while perusing through like funny comedy podcasts, I realized that the amount of clean ones that are acceptable to listen to with your kids in the car is just almost zero.
It is.
pretty much.
And the ones that are acceptable are just like painfully unfunny.
So boring. Right.
So
You're exactly right. It's like a license.
Yeah.
People feel like they have to cuss and that sort of thing just because they can, because it's a podcast.
Exactly. So we made a point to cover normal, crude stuff that makes boys laugh.
Mm-hmm.
But I have a 10-year-old son, and we keep it clean enough that he listens to it, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
So
Good. That's cool. I'll definitely give it a listen. People who are listening to this should try it out.
It's pretty good and pretty bad all at the same time.
What smells? I think that's a good setup. I mean, who wouldn't want to give that a try? A podcast that calls "What Smells." I'm in.
It is
I'm
a great
giving it
name.
try, yeah.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
I've listened to a couple episodes and it is pretty funny. On Spotify.
Yep, it's on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all that different stuff.
I gotta wait to do my full-on, unbridled podcast.
Yeah.
Till I'm officially retired from corporate America.
Everyone keeps saying at school, like, oh, you should do one where you can be dirty and stuff like that. And I was like, I can't really.
It's been done
do
1,000
that.
times. It's done.
Yeah, and
every
I don't really
day.
want to do that. I kind of want to be something different, you know? I mean, I don't know. I don't really care if the fact that, I said this before, the fact that people even listen to it is just a plus. I just like listening to people
Yeah.
talk
Tell stories.
or tell stories or people that are interesting. And the fact that people watch it is a plus, I guess.
I mean, any over 20 million views is just icing on the cake, you know?
There you go.
No, it's kind of a fun thing to do, but
don't forget, all the soda we drank tonight is available at Jake's and a few at Joe's. So go check it out. Go buy some soda or a cup of pop, as Brad says. And we'll see you next time.